All right, we're back for another episode. All righty, get ready to laugh, cringe, and maybe even shed a tear as we uncover the secrets of fixing friendships on the rocks, untangling the mysteries of drifting relationships, and decode the drama behind big friend groups falling apart. Plus, we'll clock in at the office to unravel the peculiarities of coworker relationships because they can be very peculiar. Sakafet, welcome to Unfiltered Liming Podcast. Join us as we reflect on our personal journeys and share our insights, experiences, and stories. From food to music, language to customs, we explore what it means to straddle two cultures and find a sense of belonging in both. Whether you're a first-time generation Caribbean American, a seasoned veteran, or simply curious about the rich tapestries of cultures that make up the Caribbean diaspora, this podcast is for you. We are your hosts, Lisa, the Dominica Diva.
Bertide, the Haitian sensation.
No one's talking, so let's get unfiltered.
Hello, lovely listeners. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Unfiltered Liming. We're always a pleasure to have you guys come in, join us, share, comment, like on our YouTube channel. So we love having you. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. You know who we are.
Yeah.
And today we're diving deep into the intricate web of relationships, exploring how different cultures, especially Caribbean and American, navigate the realms of friendship, love, and co-worker dynamics. So let's begin with the sibling shenanigans.
Let's just jump right in. Why don't
We
we? Let's
do.
just
We
jump
love you
in.
guys. I mean,
Yes, so let's kick things off by divulging into the wonderful world of sibling relationships. Now, we all know that no one can push your buttons quite like your siblings
mhm.
can. Ain't that the truth?
Oh yes,
Hmm.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's how do Caribbean families approach siblings dynamic? Because we all know, like
Hmm.
Lisa said, they push our button. But in the is there do you see a difference between Caribbean and American and the culture of how they approach that sibling dynamics?
I think there's a difference.
Really? Okay.
There's a difference. I don't know. Well, maybe there's not. I think between the American and Caribbean culture, maybe there's not. I think it's really household by
Mm-hmm.
household because some American cultures, some American families, I see some that are tight.
Mm-hmm.
They're very tight with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see some that are not.
Mm-hmm.
They just drift apart. And I think that's the same thing with the Caribbean culture too.
Mm-hmm.
There are some that are just super tight and there's some that are just not.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that one, I think I'm going to say that's family based. That's not even necessarily Caribbean or American. I don't know if I'd be remiss to say I think Americans might be a little closer.
Really?
I don't know. I got mixed feelings. I think I'm still on the fence with that one.
50-50? I would say
You know what? You know what I will say? I'm not sure about Caribbean, but I feel like a lot of foreign
mm-hmm.
cultures, families, and siblings are tight. I do see that more.
Okay.
So not necessarily Caribbean. I'm gonna say foreign
Mm-hmm.
cultures are.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I would
What do you
somewhat
think?
I would agree with you. I feel like on the fence 50-50 because I do think it's about
Hmm.
the individual parents, how you're raised, what the life lessons in your household was, whether you're a two-parent home, single parent home, whether there were siblings from
Hmm.
outside, you know what I mean? There's a lot of
Hmm.
different dynamics. Like I have a brother from my dad's side, so that not dynamic we were raised with him is different than the dynamics that I had with my sister. But my sister and I are oil and water.
Hmm.
We don't like we're really night
Yeah.
and day. So the dynamic is different. And I think growing
Hmm.
up, I do hear, or even now, I do hear people in my family say, well, you're the oldest and it's only the two of you guys. So it's still the emphasis on you guys are siblings, like you're saying, family's tight. But I also feel like I have a lot of American friends, and it's the same thing. Like at the end of the day, they some
Mm-hmm.
of the stories that we share is
Yeah.
in foreigns. I have friends from, all over, like Africa, Jamaica, Brazil, Venezuela. It's the same thing. They've had, the similar kind of experiences and perspective. If your siblings are wanting to have a relationship with you, they do. If they don't,
Hmm.
if you guys have the same mom, same dad, different, so you know what I mean. There's a lot that plays into
Yeah.
the dynamic, I
Yeah.
feel, of siblings relationship. And it also, I feel like it depends on we talk about how what your parents also shows you
Yeah.
as far as
Yeah.
their
Mm-hmm.
relationship with their siblings as the example.
Mm-hmm.
So because in the Caribbean,
Yeah.
siblings are not your family. But I remember, because you couldn't go to your American friend's house, so your siblings were your friends, right? They're your closest
Yeah, they
friends. You
were.
share a lot of things with
Yeah.
them. So in the Caribbean, you were basically, I don't want to say stuck together, but with your cousins and stuff like that, you just were in
Yeah.
that
That
community,
little bubble.
right? That
Yeah.
community,
Yeah.
that
You was in a bubble.
togetherness that shaped the bonds. And I would say, in
Yeah, because I remember a saying that used to say like cousins were your first best friends.
right, right.
Yeah, cousins were
And
your
I
first
feel
friends.
like in the
Mm-hmm.
US,
Yeah.
even though family is important, but you're still an individual.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Individualism. Mm-hmm.
they emphasize more. You can
Mm-hmm.
be part of this group, but you're your own independent person. In the Caribbean, you were not taught that you were an independent person.
No, no.
You know what I
Mm-mm.
mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree that.
Yeah. The American culture definitely has a stronger emphasis on personal space and
Hmm.
independence. That's part of the American culture.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So, when you think friends are forever or not?
No, they're not. I'm sorry. Okay, so
No,
background.
it's okay. It's okay.
Background.
It's okay.
Again, you've learned that, based on my the lessons that I learned from my parents, and not to be. I have trust issues, right? And I'm working on it.
Yeah.
So the thing about
Mhm.
friends is, I feel
Mhm.
just like my family, I could take or leave it, right? So I feel
Mhm.
like with friends, it's the same thing, but I also feel like, just like any relationship, it's the amount of work that you put in.
Yeah.
If it's one way, for me, I'm not gonna chase you if you're not reciprocating that you want to be my friend, right?
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes people outgrow friendships, so there's the same thing,
That
seasons,
is true.
right?
That is true.
And then there
Mhm.
are
Mhm.
friends where, if you're able to, there are friends that you could have forever, because I have friends that I've had for over 16 years. Um,
Mhm.
and the reason why I have these friendships, we don't talk every day. But the reason I have these friendships
Yeah.
is because they accept me for who I am, and I accept them for who they
Yeah.
are. And wherever we meet
Yep.
in life, when we happen to connect, is no animosity. It's not, if there's an emergency, they could call me. I could call them, one,
Yeah.
2, 3 o'clock. So
Mhm.
every relationship is different on friendship, because at the same time, there's
Yeah.
family members that I couldn't say that about, right? I can call them. I can't trust
Mhm.
them like that, but they're friends that I have if I'm having issues. You know what I'm saying? Lisa is one of
Mhm.
them. Like, I know 1, 2 o'clock in the
Mhm.
morning. Like, if I'm trying to be
Mhm.
like, yo, I'm gonna stab somebody, they're like, no, don't do it. Call me first.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
You know what I
Let's
mean?
talk. Let's talk about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's friends that
Yeah.
keep you from jumping off the cliff. There's friends like it just doesn't matter. In each friendship, you know,
Mhm.
you get to pick and choose, but it has to be
Mhm.
a sense of mutual. And I would say
Yeah.
siblings relate,
Mutual
yeah,
respect too.
and sibling, because I have to say this is sometimes where, for me, my perspective, disclaimer,
Mhm.
whether it's
Yeah.
family, co-worker, friendship, if I'm not allowed to be me and I get judged for being me when I don't judge you, it's not for me.
Yeah. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. No, it's not. So let me. I guess it's a burning question also too. Is how do you fix relationships that are falling apart?
I think it's like I said, it has to be a willingness, a two-way street. I can't want to fix something
Mhm.
and I'm speaking from experience, I'm not
Mhm.
going to name names. I'm not going to be able to fix something if the other person doesn't want to fix it, because it takes two. Just like any, whether
That
you're
is true.
married, whether you
That's
have
true.
siblings, whether it's coworkers, whether even if it's an
Mhm.
organization you work for. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. If it's
Yeah.
one sided and it's not, first of all, let's be very honest. There's going to be
Mhm.
tension. And think about a marriage. If
Yeah.
one person is putting in the work and the other person doesn't, it's going to be tension. It's
Yeah.
going to be bickering all the time because the person is not
Mhm.
giving the same energy. I'm not saying it needs to be the you guys need to be doing it the
Yeah.
same way, but at the same time, if
Yeah.
it's where to the point where you're not showing
Mhm.
me and putting in the work that you want
Mhm.
my friendship or whatever kind of
Mhm.
relationship it is,
That's true.
then I'm going to let it go.
You got
Now,
to put the work. Yeah, you're
for the
right.
ones
You're
that
right.
they do want to fix it, you're going
Yeah.
to be on the same page because one, you're going to be able to have conversation with that person. You're going to be able to be
Mhm.
transparent and honest. You're going to be able to say like,
Mhm.
yo, we've had this downfall. What's going on, friend? They're not going to take it
Yeah.
personally. They're going to be like, oh, you
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? Like true
Mhm.
relationship, I feel, is where you can express yourself and also receive the expression given to you and be able to love on each
Yes.
other, pray for each other,
Yes.
regardless of what
Mhm.
man and woman come in your life.
Yeah, cuz I was going to go there.
That was my segue to you, Lisa. I was like,
Oh, sorry. My bad.
tag, you hit.
Yeah. 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 You know what? I feel like anybody that knows me, one thing that I am on brand about and have remained consistent about is that you don't change no matter who comes into your life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get brand new, when something new comes in your life, nah, yo. Yeah, and the thing is, yeah, I've might have in the past let that slide, but I'm at a point in my life I ain't letting that shit slide anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I'm over it.
Right.
I'm over it. Like, I feel like we too old for that. Like, if you switching up based on because you got a new piece in your life, because one thing that I have remained consistent, you can ask any of my girlfriends that I remain consistent about. At the end of the day, I'm sorry, men come and go.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
Women too.
It's just what it is.
Women come and
Women
go.
too.
Yep.
Yes, they come and go. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have your friends and you have new people coming in your life, I mean, I think it's equivalent to like if you have a kid, it's a package deal.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do? Because now you have a new person in your life, you kick your kid to the curb?
Hey, some people
Who
do.
does
Some
that?
people do. That's not right.
Well,
Public service
okay.
announcement. Disclaimer. If y'all are doing
Well,
that for some
okay.
peace, go ahead, Lisa. Sorry, I had to put that in there.
Listen, okay. Well, yeah, you're right. There's some people who do that and they get down with that. So all I can say is one thing I have remained on brand all the years have not wavered from it and I will continue not to waver from it is that yo, if you're friends, even if you have somebody in your life, you should not change based on who you have in your life.
And I would
I'm
add,
sorry.
I would,
That's
yeah,
just
I would also add to that, whether it's relationship, friendships, whatever.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say this very delicately because I don't want nobody to get offended. But if you do, you know, Bertie doesn't care anyways.
oh well.
If you have a
I'm not here to
person,
protect people's
yeah, if
feelings.
you have a person that comes in your life, in your family, in your group of friends, and you have to
Mhm.
change who you are or
Oh
distance
man.
yourself from the people that have
Mm.
been in your life, you might have to
Speak on it.
reflect on your relationship. Meaning,
Yep.
what is good for you?
Yourself.
What is good for you? It's not gonna take you away from support,
Mhm.
from love. It's gonna bring it together. The right hearted
Mhm.
people, if they're about family
Yep.
and they're about their healthy, they're gonna want to bring you around their family. I'm not saying everything is perfect, but they're gonna want to bring you around they want to get to know you with your friend. Healthy, confident
Healthy relationships.
people that have done
Yes.
the work, They want to be around people that love and support you because one, they want to know that you got a support system. Two, they want to see how
Yep.
you interact with that because they want to know
Yep.
if they want to build a home with you, what relationships you have with the people around you, because that's the example. Just like they say, fathers, I mean, men look at how women treat their fathers or their mothers to know how they're going to take care of a home.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with, again,
Yep.
men that have done the work, that are mature.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be in that space with your friends and your family, and it's not going to be a threat. Because
Yeah.
if it becomes a threat,
Nope.
because the other thing too, the other flip, your friends and family sometimes can see things you don't see
Mm-hmm.
because they ain't
Oh
booed
my
up.
God.
Because they ain't,
Say it
what they
again.
call it, they ain't, what's the
Say it
word?
again.
They're not booed up. They're not on,
Oh no, the word is called
is
digmatized.
it
That's what
stigmatized?
it's called.
Yes. And what would be for
Mm.
the men? They're not, what's the word that
Pussy
people,
whooped.
yes,
That's called
whooped,
pussy whooped.
whooped. They're not whooped. You understand what I'm saying? They don't have the kind of things
Oh,
that,
you forgot the first part.
I know, but I was trying to be. See, tonight is Lisa, y'all. It's not me. They're able to give you a different perspective. And I'm not saying that you should take
Perspective.
their words for
Yeah.
what it is, but you should be open to receiving what they see from a different
Mm-hmm.
perspective and then analyze
Yep.
it for yourself. But if you find somebody,
Yep.
like for me, that's one thing when with certain family member or like my sister, for example, if anything happens, it's a package deal. So whoever's in my life, they understand that if anything should happen, my nieces and
Mm-hmm.
nephew, there's no, we're not having no
Yep.
conversation.
Package. Yeah.
You not like
Yeah.
wherever I am, they are. You understand what I'm saying? And I need
Yeah.
that person to understand that and not be like, oh, nope.
No. Listen, I got a problem with people who isolate their person from their friends and
Yes.
family. That to me is called a red flag, and that is a different episode, but
Yes.
we're not going to get into
Yes.
that.
Please check it
But
out too.
getting back, yeah, getting back to the friendship, yeah, like I said, I've been on brand about that. I think you have certain friends that, yeah, you don't speak to them every day, but when you do speak to them, you pick up like where you left off, nothing ever happened.
Mm,
Those friendships I definitely value too. I definitely value those friendships as well too,
yeah.
you know. Because the thing is everybody's life,
Right.
everybody's living life. And I think that as long as you remember to check in and you let your friends know that you're thinking about
Mm-hmm.
them and thing like that, then, it's fine. Fine. Life can keep going on. Just as it's like sometimes you just need to do a check-in. That's
Right.
it. You don't need to like I have one girlfriend that I just love this. It was, before I started traveling for work, it was like once a month. We have it on once a month we meet for dinner. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
just our thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to meet for dinner, sit down and talk and you make the time.
Right.
And once a month can be enough.
About it
So,
is like one way that I feel like in the Caribbean versus American, like in the Caribbean, because it's so much about community. A lot of times, if you have a group of friends
mhm,
and they know this one is not with this one, within the group, they gonna put
yeah.
it on the spot and y'all better deal with it. That's it.
Yeah.
Like your even with
Yeah.
family in the Caribbean, if there's an issue, cousin and stuff like that,
Mhm.
like they will within like, yo, what's going on, whatever. That's a community resolving. Like they, and I
Yeah.
think in the
Yeah.
American, because it's individual, like they go one on one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, let me talk to this
Yeah.
person, let me call this person. But in the Caribbean, you where
Mhm.
it happened, that's where it's happening. And they don't care how many.
Yeah. Nope. It's on blast. It's
It's
just right there.
blast. I'm telling you, it literally is because I
Mhm.
know I've done that with my family, doing with family reunion. They're like disputes between cousins. I picked up the phone because it's like playing telephone sometimes and everybody's
Yeah.
talking about it. And I was like, wait a minute. I call both people and I'm like, y'all
Yeah.
need to resolve this because this has come again to my desk
Mhm.
from a different
Yeah.
cousin. It doesn't need to be. Y'all talk, move on, or
Yeah.
don't move on. But I'm that kind of a person
Mhm.
like, yo, when it goes around the community and everybody's talking, everybody calling people, like they they be serious
Mhm.
about it. Did you hear what happened between cousin so and so,
Yeah.
between brother so and so, and stuff like that? But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's funny.
How do you think Americans might on like one-on-one discussion or just avoiding it altogether?
I think I so this is what I'm gonna say. I think in the America culture, I feel like because the individuality is like
Mm,
be your own individual. I think sometimes it's easier to walk away from friendships and from certain
yeah.
relationship because I'm an individual,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's part
Yeah.
of me too, taking it or leaving it. If I look at myself and analyze myself, then I'm like I can take it or because I'm an individual and all this other stuff. So I think
Yeah. Mhm.
you're easier to be like, if I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to fix it, then I'm just gonna avoid it. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
be I'm my own person.
Yeah, that's true.
They're on their own space. We
Mhm.
all got our own lives and all
Yeah.
goals, and we don't need to all be together. Like,
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that. But
Yeah. That's true.
I think sometimes with the American culture, if it sometimes it can take just one conversation because it's misunderstanding, right?
Yep.
To
Mhm.
fix it, but because
Mhm.
we're individual and we're doing our own thing, sometimes it's like we let it build up, build
Everybody
up.
tends to walk away faster.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 You're right. You're right about that.
yeah.
Yeah. Family will put you on blast, but the American culture, people either walk away from it or let it fester and pile up.
So with friendship, let me ask you a better question because this one is juicy and I want to know the
Mhm.
answer because I'm always on the fence. Can a guy and a girl be best friends without falling in love?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence
Really?
because I feel like unless that person is into the opposite sex, right?
Okay.
Then
Yeah.
possibly, right? So meaning whatever
Mhm.
lifestyle they choose, they're not into my gender, they're into the opposite gender. Yes. But
Oh, so that's how you think it could work.
but I feel
That's the
like
only way you think it could
yes,
work.
I feel like if you both are decent looking people, you might not be you know what I'm saying? You might not be attracted to that person, but that person might have been attracted to you. You could do it without being in love, but some point in time in their relationship, somebody's liked each other. If it's not you, then it's that other person. I'm just saying.
Mm.
So once you get that part out of the way, I think
Mhm.
yes, you can do that,
Okay.
but I think you have to navigate and be honest with because there's
Mhm.
times if we are honest with relationship. And I'm just gonna speak on myself, disclaimer, my perspective.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
guys that I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, at first, maybe not been attracted to, right? But as we became friends because of
Yeah.
their personality, because of whatever, then you start developing like, oh, this is a nice person. Oh, you like this about them. And there's sometimes an attraction that comes with because you spend time with that person, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes you might not
Yeah.
react towards that, but I feel like sometimes as because we're opposite sex, there's what they call it, hormones. Sometimes you know what I'm saying. So sometimes,
Hormones.
yeah,
Yeah.
you might not fall
Mhm.
in love, but you might be like, oh, the right time, right place.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not
I
not.
I guess, yeah.
What do you think?
I don't
You
no,
said
I think it's possible. I think it's possible. I think that two people from the opposite sex can be good friends.
can be best friends, but let me ask you this: so they're best friends.
Best friends, yeah.
Okay, so when you guys each have significant others, how does that relationship work? Do you think that your new partners are gonna believe that you guys have never been or falling in love if you get
Well,
new?
you got to present it. You got to it's the way you present it from the jump. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Just like you start dating someone and you tell them from the jump, these are my parents, these are my siblings, these are my friends, these are my
Mm-hmm.
close friends. And as long as you introduce them from the jump,
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't see it being a problem.
Okay. Does the best
You
friend
introduce them, huh?
relationship changes if you have?
It should not. It shouldn't.
Okay.
Like you might not speak to them as much because now you're in a relationship and you're focused on time, but I don't think it's any different than how often you speak to your girlfriend. I don't I don't think it's any different.
Mm.
And again, that comes with maturity. That comes with both people are emotionally mature. Again, this can only be pulled off by mature people. Sorry.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
I think you are. I agree with what you're saying, but I also agree
Yeah.
is how you set the boundaries. I feel
They
like,
set it up from the
yeah,
beginning.
and I feel like it does change, meaning
Mhm.
not in a bad way, like you say, you present it. But the thing is,
Mhm.
when you have girlfriends, the conversation you have between your girlfriends and your guy friend is a different, it's a male and female perspective, right? So
Mhm.
men, a lot of times they don't want to feel disrespected and they're very territorial, whether they're your best friends, whether whatever. So that's the thing too, is understanding the dynamic of the friendship. Your girlfriend's friendship and your
Yeah.
male friendship are two different type of friendship, and we can't just say it's gonna be the
Yeah.
same because at the same time they're territorial, right? So I saw this TikTok thing that said this girl was saying the same thing, and she said the guy was
Mhm.
like, she was like, "Oh yeah, I have two good guy friends, and you know they've been so nice. They do everything for me." Blah blah blah. The guy was like, "They want to sleep with you if the opportunity presents itself." So he put it to the test. He tells her, "Call your guy
Mhm.
friend and say, hey, do you want to cuddle? I've been going through some stuff. You want to cuddle?" Just a test, because she was like, "Oh no, they're not
Mhm.
gonna say that." Sure enough, and she had it on speaker because she was confident that they would say no. So she goes,
Yeah.
"Hey, so and so, I've had a bad day. Can I come over and cuddle?" He didn't hesitate. He's like,
Mhm.
"Yeah." The guy was like, "See, I'm telling you, women and men cannot, like,
Mhm.
if the opportunity presented itself, they will take it."
Yeah.
And I started busting out laughing because at the end of the day, yes, like you said, you just got to be very honest and transparent. It's still a dynamic that's different than your girlfriend. But I feel like if you
Yeah.
do get into a relationship, it is going to change because you don't want your person to feel any type of disrespectfulness. But with your friend,
Yeah.
because I've done that, call my friends and say, "Hey, we used to
Mhm.
talk. You used to be able to call me at 1 o'clock in the morning. If I'm with
Mhm.
somebody out of respect for my relationship,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
might not do certain things that we used to do because I want to make sure that that person feels respected, right?" And I think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. I understand.
right. Vice
Yeah.
versa, if it's, same thing.
Yeah.
I expect, like, if I'm with somebody, they have girls that are their friends, that there's a boundary that is
Mhm.
like she can't be coming over and
Mhm. Yeah.
cooking half naked at your house. Maybe she used to be able to.
No.
There's just certain boundaries
Yeah.
that I think
Yeah.
does change regardless of y'all never slept together, regardless of whatever. There's just
Yeah.
certain things you need to that person that you're with, if you're it's a committed relationship, to feel secure and
Yeah.
respected in that.
That's I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. But I just feel like a mature, again, I just think a mature person, they just gonna, as long as you're upfront and you're up
Mm-hmm.
honest and they know themselves,
Mm-hmm.
like they're not gonna cross certain boundaries. And I mean, so
You gotta make sure the
like
information.
I just feel, no, I was just gonna say, because I'm just even thinking like, yeah, because like even before I moved in my house, and I have male friends too, and it's like they got keys to my apartment, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, if your man is there, they know not to come through. Like they
Mm-hmm.
just, they're not gonna use the key. They'll just knock on the
Mm-hmm.
door. I guess I must be different, because then this goes back to the same conversation when we talked about being a stepmom.
Right.
I guess I'm just different. I'm just different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just I'm just a different person. So yeah.
Right.
So that's another conversation. But it's still relationships.
Right.
It's still relationships. Like, there's boundaries. Like as a
Mm-hmm.
step mom, you don't cross boundaries. You let
Mm-hmm.
the mother and the father take care of the children.
Mm-hmm.
All you are is just an extra caregiver, or an extra, like
Mm-hmm.
if that child feels like they want to have someone to bounce another idea
Mm-hmm.
off of, but whatever that child says, you need to go back and let the parents know. Like you guys to set these
What is it
boundaries. Like
called in the play?
that's
The understudy. You're the understudy.
yeah,
You are you don't
yeah, I guess
you
so.
don't come out until it's absolutely
No,
necessary,
it's
or that role
necessary.
is vacated and not no longer there.
Yeah,
That's how understudy works.
no,
They learn the
yep,
lines, They're present. You don't see them. You don't know them until there's some type
Yeah.
of that
Yeah.
role is vacated. Let's put it
Yeah. No,
understudy.
because I mean, like, my stepdaughter's mother, we're like this.
Right.
Why, you ask? Because I stay in my lane. Even if I see things that I don't agree with, I stay in my lane. I be respectful. I don't, that's their child.
See,
That's not my
you
business.
the
I mind my business and drink my water.
you are the
That is
you
not
are the
my
example.
business.
I'm not gonna.
I am the
I'm
example.
not.
I know for a fact that I am the
I'm not
example.
gonna go.
This is how it's
Yeah,
done.
that's how it
You
should be
stay
done.
in your mother hudging lane. Okay? When you the stepmother, you do not cross no boundaries. You do not get in the way. I I have been and still am a stepmother. You do not do that.
Stepfather,
You'll
stepmother.
get cut. You will get cut.
Say it
You
again.
don't do
Say it
that.
again.
So,
Because people that don't get
no,
cut
you
and
get
they take your
no,
kindness for weakness,
no,
please. Like, yeah, some people will
no,
cut you for doing
no.
that
You
stuff, but
listen. No. Mm-mm. Nope.
but let's talk about
Nope.
let
And to this day,
yeah
no. Anyway, moving
yes
on.
to
Let's just move on because
coworkers.
that's just
What about coworkers and
nah. We ain't
cubicles?
doing that.
You're shifting gears to the workplace because we spend so much time with our coworkers. So let's talk about that kind of
Hmm.
relationship. What constitutes an unhealthy relationship in a professional setting?
When people come to work and they bring their problems and they be giving you an attitude, they be starting unnecessary drama
Mm,
in the office, acting like they have to be the center of attention opposed to, or gossiping opposed to doing their work.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah, I
that's just favoritism, playing favoritism,
right,
trying to make the office cliquish when we're here to get a check and go home. I
right,
don't even like, what are we doing that for?
right.
Nobody has time for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's very unhealthy relationships at work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree. Another thing also too, I think is unhealthy. Some people are gonna feel different about this. I really don't care. This whole thing calling office husbands and office
Oh
wives.
my
Yo.
goodness, yes. Yes, that was new to me. And working in an
Yeah.
office settings where you go in act
Yeah.
actually in an office in a cubicle whatever. Oh my goodness, because that one right
Mm-mm-mm.
there, nobody ever called me their office wife because guess what? If I ain't getting some of your check, don't be calling me your
Don't
husband.
call me that.
No, don't call me
No, don't
that.
call me
No.
that.
And then
No, we're not
to
doing that.
think that it's
Mm-mm.
cute to do it in front of your
Mm-hmm.
significant other because
Mother?
I feel like that's sometimes where the boundaries sometimes, and you hear about people that cheat on their significant others with these people and stuff like that. I
Yep.
feel like it's just opening a door for no darn reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't,
Yeah.
no reason to do that. And I understand you spend that much time with the person, but sometimes, again, gives the wrong idea. And then when the lines
Mm-hmm.
get blurry in your boundary, you be wondering what happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, because you were comfortable. You were comfortable having this
Mm-hmm.
conversation. I think another thing that is unprofessional, unhealthy is when, like you say, you come to work and all your businesses at work where people can focus on the work and we're helping you. So we're not your therapy session. We're at work.
Nope.
We're not there to, and I'm not saying like, yes, there's times that we do share, but there's times that it's
Mm-hmm.
also not, it becomes unhealthy if it's you all the time. If it's you all the
Yeah.
time, nobody else gets a
Yeah.
chance to share because there are things with your certain office people that you do share common because there's friendship that you do could build with office
You
people
do. You
outside of
do.
work. So I'm not saying
Yeah.
that, but it
Because you
becomes
spend a lot of time at
right, but
work.
it becomes healthy
Yeah.
when you're the person again bringing the drama and it's always or you're having personal conversations that nobody else
Mm-hmm.
should hear about in the office. I don't need to hear you and your kids arguing. I don't need to hear you and your husband talking about what's for dinner.
Oh,
I don't need to hear, I don't need to hear.
got a good one. So, look, this is probably so wrong. Okay, I'm not gonna say what property it is. Just it again, I travel for work,
Mhm,
and we're just gonna leave it at that.
mhm.
When, wh- okay, listen. I know you have daddy issues. We know you have to be the center of attention. We have to hear about every time your child was in a recital
Mm-hmm.
and every cupcake you had to make them and every birthday. And then they got this thing, I don't know what it's called, like this book where you go and have every teacher sign the book for every grade that they were in since elementary school, since kindergarten or whatever.
Okay.
This child is now about to graduate high school. Why are you still talking about it every single day? About his third birthday party. This one's really bad that I'm about to repeat this. Forgive me. Okay. This person, sorry, they lost a child, had a miscarriage or stillbirth, I think, before, and they've moved on and had another child.
Mm-hmm.
And they still talk about that miscarriage and the child that they had after the miscarriage is now about to graduate high school. And everybody knew that they encounter, they still talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to make light of the situation, but in that situation, I think that person needs therapy.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's fair to come to work every day and continuously relive that at least 2 to 3 times a week.
Oh wow.
I don't think it's fair for the other coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's fair. It makes for a very uncomfortable work environment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also part of bringing your trauma to work.
Right. Right.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make light of it, but then that's really tough for the other coworkers to
Mm-hmm.
have to deal with on a daily basis when they're just trying to get their work done.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fair to them.
Right.
So that's an example of bringing
Right.
your
Because you got to be
unhealthy relationships at work.
right, and you have to be respectful because you don't know what might trigger somebody. And like you said, if it's just that
That's true.
that one person that's constantly not giving anybody else a chance to talk about their issue, and it's only you, I think that's also unhealthy. The other thing I feel that is
Yeah.
unhealthy, because we can talk about it because we're black women in the workplace, is making us feel that because we have strong personalities, like that I feel is unhealthy when your counterparts don't work as hard as you, and because you're
Hmm.
firm in your speech and your delivery, then they make you feel that you're wrong, but you're doing a good job. You're showing up to work on time. You're doing the best than the other counterparts do. And I feel like that's unhealthy when you're being put to kind of like shame because either you don't want to have a relationship with them or because you're like, no, I'm separating myself. That's unhealthy. No one should be made feel that they have to be friends with office people. You should be cordial, but you shouldn't be forced to be like,
Yeah.
you have to be friends with them. Because, first of all, like you said, we're not in high school. I don't have to do anything. I don't share your paycheck.
No.
I don't go home with you. You don't share mine. And second of all,
Hmm.
if I'm separating myself because I have goals and dreams and I know where I want to be and I have a path, then I'm going to
Yeah.
separate myself from those that do. I don't know their dreams and their goals. So I can't run with the
Yeah.
pack when I'm trying
Yeah.
to go and maybe go up this ladder
Yeah.
and I've
That's
planned it
true.
out. Like, let's be honest. And I think, like, when people view, even though you may carry the same title in a job, but people,
Yeah.
again, the American culture are individual, so treat them as individual.
Hmm.
Don't be like, because
Yeah.
everybody's a front desk person, treat everybody as a front desk person. Or everybody's an admin,
Hmm.
so we treat every admin the same. No, I think that's unhealthy to treat everyone
Hmm.
the same based on they get the same pay grade, they're this and they're that.
Yeah.
When
Hmm.
clearly I think sometimes no, I think that's unhealthy. That's just,
Yeah. Yeah.
me.
Woo. Boundaries, boy. Boundaries are key in the American workplace because I just feel like some people they don't have the boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's something that needs to be revisited, or
Mm-hmm.
HR needs to, I don't know, revisit, do something, because boundaries. And you know what? There are some companies, they do tell you, like, leave your personal life at the door, the
Mm-hmm.
front door.
Mm-hmm.
When you come to work, you come to work. and leave your personal business at the front door, and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I know we spend more hours at work than we do
Mm-hmm.
at home with our families, but the reality is you got to check that at the door. That's not what you're here for. You're here to get
Mm-hmm.
a check and to go home,
Yeah.
you know?
And you can't let, like you
So,
said with the lady with the talking about the kids and all that, then that's where your personal is interfering with the workplace. Right? So that's
yes, it
when
is very much
the
so.
alarm bells start ringing, because it shouldn't overtake the workplace. Your personal life should not interfere with your professional conduct, right? It shouldn't be
No,
over. I'm not saying like yes, we do bring that, but it shouldn't be more of that spilling over to your
hmm,
professional. There still needs, again,
no.
now decorum. There still needs to be a form of professional decorum, because I'm gonna tell you right now, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna tell on myself, and then we could wrap this up. I'm going to, in my work relationship, I tell people all the time, I give people just like 90 days. I give you 90 days. I don't know you, you don't know me.
Hmm.
Before I determine how
Hmm.
you move, or you're the gossipy,
Hmm.
gossip Susie in the
Hmm.
office. If I talk to you, you're gonna tell my business. If I share something with you,
Hmm.
or you're gonna try, or
You
you
hopping around, or you're a rivet.
right, or you trying to, because I know my work ethic, or you're gonna try to tag team on me because you want to move up. So if
Hmm.
you don't do the work, but you want to tag along with me, and so I'm gonna give you 90 days to figure out what type of person you are. You understand what I'm saying? Because I don't like to be micromanaged. So I'm gonna kind of see what type of individual, how slithering you are or not. That's just me.
Yeah.
And at the end of the
Hmm.
day, I can take it or leave it. So I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna do
Yep.
my job. Don't get offended. Once
Hmm.
I find out that you talk about everybody's business, I'm not
Hmm.
your friend. Once I
Yep.
find out that you gossip about everybody that you claim you hang out with on the weekend, I'm not your friend.
Hmm.
Once I find
Oh
out that
God,
you
no.
suck the energy out of me because you got trauma, I'm not a therapist. I'm not
Yeah.
getting paid as a therapist. When I become a therapist and I could
Hmm.
charge you thousands of dollars to come sit on my couch, I will be more than happy to welcome you. Until then, I'm not your therapist. So no, I will not be doing that because I don't get paid that to do that. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, you gonna know what my boundaries are, and it might hurt your feelings. Don't get offended. We
Hmm.
just maybe not
Hmm.
vibing. I just realized what type of person you're, and it's okay for you to be who you are. You
Yeah,
could be gossipy
it's
Susie.
okay.
You could be all these things.
Yep.
We welcome you to be an individual. You're just not gonna be an individual in my
Hmm.
space. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. She said it, people. Listen, all right.
Yeah.
You heard it first
Yes.
from B. Now that we've journeyed through the nuances of sibling bonds and the complexity of friendships, oh gosh, and coworkers. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God. Coworkers relationships in the Caribbean and in the US.
And remember, relationships are supposed to be diverse as the culture that shaped them.
Mm-hmm.
So embrace the differences, learn from each other,
Mm-hmm.
and keep those connections thriving.
Nice. All right, in this episode, let's talk about the tips. Number one, communicate openly and honestly with your loved ones.
Yes, communication is key. Secondly, be supportive and understanding.
Hmm. And number three, invest time and energy into nurturing your
And
relationships.
remember, relationships are supposed to be diverse as the culture that shaped them.
Mm-hmm.
So embrace the differences, learn from each other,
Mm-hmm.
and keep those connections thriving.
Yes. Thank you for joining us for another episode, D Lineman Crew. Until next time, stay connected, stay talking.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Unfiltered Lyman podcast. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and gained some valuable insight. Don't forget to subscribe to the show so you can catch every new episode and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you fresh, exciting content. And if you have a topic you'd like us to discuss or a story you'd like to share, please reach out to us via our website. Join us again next Thursday for another unfiltered conversation about the rich diversity and complexity of the Caribbean American experience. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep celebrating the unique cultural heritage that makes us who we are. Unfiltered Liming is edited and produced by Unfiltered Liming.